Hey guys, what's up? It's iFlynn here, and today I'm going to be showing you guys how to farm mag in Warframe in 2019. This video is being made just to run in line with my Beginner's Guide 2019 to help players out who need a little bit more in-depth detail or help whenever it comes to doing certain tasks within the game. So yeah, let's learn about how to farm mag. So if you've watched pretty much any video to do with mag in any way, shape, or form, you probably are already aware that mag is one of the free starter frames in the game, and she's the one that people are less likely to recommend to you because her kit is somewhat complicated and doesn't really become optimal until you have better weapons and better mods. So players don't recommend picking her up as your starter frame, and they definitely don't recommend picking her up as early as I'm telling players to in the beginner's guide, right? In the beginner's guide, I'm telling them to get all of her parts and then, you know, have her crafted sitting in the foundry ready to claim. So then whenever you do get to that leader point, you can just claim her and then either use her for mastery fodder, because that's definitely something that people do with mag, or you can experiment with her kit because it is kind of interesting. But we're not here to learn about mag today, so don't craft her and claim her as a Warframe to play as early game is what I'm trying to say. Wait until later on, until you at least finish the star chart before you claim her and make her take up one of your Warframe slots, right? So we're going to be farming mag from the planet Phobos on the node, I forget the name. I had it in my last attempt at this video, but I forget. It's Iliad. All right, Iliad, and then the boss is called the Sergeant. So you get a pretty lackluster frame from one of the easiest bosses in the game. Makes a lot of sense. This guy is basically another corpus enemy which can go invisible. Nothing crazy. He also has slightly faster shield regen, but if you use the weapons that I'm going to talk about in today's video, should be really simple, right? So there's two ways you can go about this. If you're following beginner's guides to a T, you may have already claimed Excalibur by this point if you got lucky in the resource farming aspect, like you picked up all the resources that you needed to craft Excalibur. You may have him, but at the beginning of the game you really have the choice between Excalibur and Volt. So if you're using Excalibur for this fight, use your Exalted Blade ability, which is your fourth ability, and then use your second ability to stun the boss, and then just spam E. That's going to kill the boss regardless on how you mod. You should be modding for damage and elemental damage on your Exalted Blade, but because the enemy is blinded, he's going to have a stealth multiplier applied to him, right? So you're just going to deal bonus damage with your melee, right? And your Exalted Blade counts as a melee. So that's awesome. That's great. Really easy way to do the boss. But even with this setup right now, Volt and the Karak, this boss is going to be extremely easy. So we're using Volt, and I would recommend modding your Excalibur if you're playing Excalibur in the exact same way. Streamline for your ability efficiency, Intensify for your power strength to make your abilities more effective. So Exalted Blade dealing more damage, Volt speed speeding you up a little bit faster, Flow for more energy capacity, Continuity so your abilities last longer, so speed on Volt lasting longer, or Excalibur's Radial Blind Stun, Vitality for more health, and then Redirection for more shields. I'd recommend prioritizing Vitality over Redirection because Vitality is going to protect you from the likes of Slash procs and Toxin procs because they go straight for your shields and affect your health directly, right? So that is that. Of course, this is a very beginner-centric build. It's using flawed mods. And if you have the upgraded versions of these mods or the complete versions, go ahead and use those instead because they're just going to be higher bonuses. But because I wanted to show that you can do this with a very basic build, then I'm handicapping myself as much as possible in this video, right? So we also have the Karak here. Now, as a newer player, I'd recommend swapping between the Boltor for the Grenier faction because it's high in puncture damage, and then the Karak for the Corpus faction because it's high in impact damage. So impact is good versus shields, puncture is good versus armor, the shields on an enemy is the blue health bar complemented by the red, and then armored enemies is just a flat out yellow health bar, right? So the Karak is good because it's got a high impact stat, at least for the beginning of the game, and what I recommend you run is your Serration mod. Let's see if I have a flawed Serration actually, just to make this a little bit more realistic. We got a flawed Serration. Let's go ahead and throw that on, which is going to give me significantly less damage instead of this maxed out one. And then we have elemental mods. So I have Stormbringer on here and Cryo Rounds. So it's also worth noting that if you're playing versus the Corpus, you can just straight up run toxin damage, but I don't expect you guys to have Infected Clip just yet. You may have it if you got lucky, but you can choose between running magnetic damage or toxin damage, right? So toxin damage is going to go straight through enemy shields whenever you proc it. So that's awesome and is going to make killing enemies in the Corpus faction a lot faster, especially if you're running Magnetic and Toxin at the beginning of the game. Enemies are just going to drop, and it's going to be like, whoa, this is really good. The Corpus faction is really, really easy. But for players who just want to get, you know, a high damage bonus from magnetic damage, then go ahead and run Stormbringer and run Cryo Rounds. That's going to give you your magnetic. Make sure they're beside one another in the modding section, and then obviously your Serration mods, and this should be enough to take down the boss really, really easily, right? But yeah, if you want the even more damage, throw an Infected Clip at the end, and then that will give you your magnetic and Toxin, which is great. And you do pretty much the exact same thing for your secondary weapon, right? You have your Hornet Strike on here, so your damage mod, then your elemental mods making your magnetic. So we've got our cold plus our electric for our magnetic damage, and then moving on to the Scanna, exact same thing. Pressure point for our damage. We got Fury on here for attack speed, so that's just a little bit more DPS, and we have Shocking Touch and Northwind for our electricity and cold, which is giving us our magnetic. And again, you can complement this elemental combo with toxin damage to make you deal even more damage. Stance mod doesn't matter. You guys aren't going to have a stance mod this early in the game. And yeah, that's a very, very basic loadout, and this is also the build that I'd recommend using on your Excalibur's Exalted Blade if you happen to be running that. Again, toxin damage on that will help out a lot too, but you don't necessarily need it because this fight is very, very easy, right? Just focus on leveling up these mods if you're struggling with these with this fight, and you should be good to go. So yeah, let's go ahead and jump into the fight after we purchase the mag blueprint from the market. So before you jump into the fight, you want to go to the market. You want to go to search. You want to type in mag in the top left-hand corner. Swap the categories to Warframes. Click on mag. Go to this little blue symbol right here, the credit symbol. Click on it. Press purchase blueprint for 25,000 credits. That's going to add that to your foundry. And now if we go back down to our foundry, we can take a look at it. So go to foundry, go to the Warframes tab. Type in mag in the top left hand corner, and you're going to see we need the mag neuroptics, the mag chassis, and the mag system. So I have the mag chassis blueprint and the mag neuroptics blueprint. Let's hope that we get lucky in this run and get the mag systems blueprint, right? Because killing this boss on Phobos is going to give us the blueprints for the parts for mag, and then we have to take these blueprints and then craft them in our foundry to put them together to then craft the frame, right? So the chassis and the neuroptics share a drop chance of 32% each, and then the systems is the rarest part out of the three with a 28% drop chance. So in worst case scenario, I think you got to do about 32, 36 runs. Not too sure which one of those numbers it is to guarantee that you get at least all of those blueprints or part blueprints at least once, right? So let's just go ahead and jump into the mission. It's really, really easy. This is one of the easiest bosses in the game. If anything, you may struggle with the mobs around you if you're not too great at the parkour in the game. What I recommend doing if you're playing Volt, just use your second ability to speed through the mission, because it's not very engaging, I guess you could say. You just want to get this done as quick as possible. It's very dull, and there's lots of elevators and air vents and stuff like that you may have to go through. The air vents are actually the faster way, by the way. So just sprint past all the enemies, and then if you're playing Excalibur and you're struggling with the enemies around you, use your second ability to stun them, right? Don't use your Exalted Blade from the get-go, because you want to save your energy. You have no way to regen your energy as a new player, so you're relying very, very heavily on energy orb drops. On this build, I have Energy Siphon, which is an aura that you can get from Nightwave. That'll help out a lot if you're struggling with managing your energy. It is 0.4 energy per second, so it's just a nice to have. You can kill the mobs around the Sergeant in this fight, and we're actually in the room with him right now. So here's the Sergeant right here. If you want to deal as much damage as you can using Volt, you would go ahead and you would place down your electric shield, but he went invisible, so I'm not going to do that. Just wait. He's just a boss that likes to run away a lot. He'll eventually become visible again. So there he is. He just keeps on running away from you. Literally playing Ring Around the Rosies with this guy. So there's multiple things you can do. You can just, you know, walk up to him and melee him, or you can shoot him through your electric shield and kill him like that. You know, super easy boss. The electric shield is going to give you bonus electric damage. So that's just going to stack into your magnetic damage, right? Because you need electric damage to make magnetic damage, so it's going to give you bonus magnetic damage effectively, and the magnetic damage on the enemy shields is going to give 75% bonus, so you're just going to drop enemies a lot quicker than you would without using it, right? So if we go ahead Get to the end of the mission, and we got mag chassis. So we didn't get the systems. We would just rerun the mission again until we do get the mag systems that we need to craft mag. But you would just repeat this until you get the mag chassis blueprint, the mag neuroptics blueprint, mag systems blueprint. Go to your foundry and craft all the things using the resources that they require, and then also the credits that they require. These blueprints or part blueprints require 12 hours each. So if we go back down here and we type in mag, you can see that the chassis cost Morphix, Ferrite, Rubido. Neuroptics cost neural sensors, alloy plates, polymer bundle, and Rubido. The systems usually cost somewhat similar stuff to the chassis, or maybe, you know, somewhat similar stuff to the mag prime systems. Oh, there's mag systems right there. So yeah, more so like the mag prime systems, control module, Morphix, salvage, exactly the same actually, just the mag systems requires more. So okay, I did have one line around, it's just at the bottom. So mag systems, you go ahead, let's just craft for demonstration. I'm gonna rush these. So you craft them. Okay, so they take 12 hours each, but because I've got a lot of platinum, go ahead and spam them, right? Rush them. Okay, so we have all of them. So now we can just go ahead and click on mag. Mag's going to take 72 hours to build, so that's 3 days, which sucks. Again, I'm going to rush it, but we're going to need to have a Warframe slot. So you can see your Warframe slots by pausing your game, go into Equipment, Inventory, then clicking on the Warframe tab, and then scrolling all the way to the bottom. We don't have any Warframe slots, so we have to press this right here. We press purchase, yep, or it'll prompt you to do that whenever you go to claim mag and it says that you don't have enough slots. So let's go ahead and claim mag. There we go. Fresh mag is now in our inventory, as you can see right here. No mods, no Exilus adapter, no potato or Warframe reactor or anything like that. Fresh mag, you gotta level it up. The reason my mag has 26 capacity is because I am master rank 26, and your capacity on your Warframes and weapons newly crafted is going to be similar to that of your master rank. So if you're master rank 23, your capacity is going to start at 23. Then if you're throwing a Warframe reactor, it's going to double that. So that's how that works, just for people who are wondering. But yeah, that is how you get mag. Do not craft her early on. Well, craft her early on, have her ready to claim in your foundry. But don't claim her because she's not one of those frames that you're going to have, I guess, the ample mods to make really, really good. And she does take a little bit of learning to kind of be used at her fullest potential, right? Because there's a lot of unique mechanics like using punch through on her magnetized ability and then spamming polarize to strip away enemy armor and stuff like that. There is going to be videos on my YouTube channel and other Warframe content creators YouTube channels that go into mag more in detail and stuff like that, but we're not at that point yet. So yeah, that's how you get mag. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, go ahead, hit that like button below, and if you want to see more Warframe content from me, hit subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one.